Now we would like to discuss classroom management and hopefully give you some tips and strategies to help you be successful when interacting with your students as a guest teacher. Really, it all comes back to our district values of respect, dignity, honesty, responsibility, and teamwork, especially when we are talking about classroom management. It's always important to remember that you're the adult in the classroom and that you're serving children or students. And these students come from various backgrounds and different experiences, and it's important to always assume the best in our students and that their behavior comes from a place and it is not intentional or necessarily personal or directed towards you, but that this student may be dealing with other issues that are causing the behavior. So just understanding that from a philosophical standpoint, that we care for children, that we recognize their behavior is not personal, and that we're patient and kind when interacting with students and misbehaviors within the classroom. So some tips and some strategies to get you started with classroom management is it's always great to greet the students at the door as they enter the classroom with a smile, maybe a positive comment, and then you want to get class started as quickly as possible, get students seated, take attendance, clearly communicating what the lesson and the activities are, what the expectations for your students is super important. The more details you can provide students and the clearer you communicate what the expectations and the lesson activities are for the day, the less questions and problems you will encounter throughout your teaching. So let's talk a little bit more about specific classroom management strategies, and then we'll get into some scenarios.
We want you to know the subject as well as possible. We understand, however, there will be times when you may be teaching a subject that you do not have a lot of expertise in. That is also an opportunity where you can utilize some of those helpful students. For example, if you are teaching trigonometry, it's been a long time since you have taken trig, there are students who will be able to assist you with particular parts of those lessons. We want you to make the students your students, especially if you are subbing in that classroom for a period of time. It's really important to build those relationships. We also recommend that you always give the appearance that you are in control. We understand there will be some times when you may feel like you are not in control. However, if you appear that you're not in control, that is an opportunity for students to take advantage. So rather than have your head down at the desk and being disengaged from the students, we want you up on your feet. We want you walking around the classroom. We want you checking in with students. We want you to be very engaged and involved with the students and with the learning that takes place in that classroom. If you have a student who is misbehaving, we do expect that you will do something about it because they are detracting from the learning that is happening in the classroom. The first thing that we recommend that you do is just use proximity. Walk over to the student. You don't need to say anything to them, but just stand near to them. Believe me, they will want you to step away and they will quickly get back on task because they don't want that adult to be that near to them. If that doesn't work, kneeling down and saying something very quietly to the student is very helpful. Something along the lines of, I really need you to get focused on your work. You're keeping these other students from getting their work done. That's a good way to handle that. If the misbehavior continues, you can always ask a student to step out into the hallway with you. If you do that, we do ask that you face into the classroom and the student has their back to the classroom. That way they don't have an audience. It allows them to save face, and it also gives you the opportunity to look into the classroom to monitor what might be going on in there while you are standing in the hallway. If you continue to have difficult moments with these students, we expect that you contact the office and let us know. It's important that the office knows that there's something going on and that you might need help, and we're happy to come in and assist.
Knowing when and where misbehavior or classroom management issues can arise is super important. So I want to identify some hot spots for misbehavior so that you can begin to think and prepare to avoid these hot spots. So oftentimes when we see misbehavior, it's at the beginning of class when we're not getting things started quickly, during transition times between activities, at the end of class if we have downtime and students are finished. That is an opportunity for a lot of talking and for things to get rowdy. During group work, if group work is not structured or planned effectively, that can be a hot spot for misbehavior. When students have nothing to do or they're finished with the assignments early, or when they don't understand what the activity or what the directions are. So we talked a little bit about making sure you give clear expectations, you explain the directions clearly, you get started quickly, you have activities that extend until the class is finished. So you can avoid these hot spots by being prepared. You will see a lot less misbehavior within your classroom.
Some classroom management must-dos are always following the classroom teacher's lesson plans. That is a definite must. Take time before school to review the material and review the teacher's behavior and discipline plan. Know the discipline referral form procedure. Every school has a different type of referral system, and all of that information should be found in the substitute folder. We do recommend that you follow the classroom teacher's discipline plan because students have been trained with that. And that can vary from classroom to classroom. Teachers will leave detailed notes about what that plan is and how to follow it. Teachers also would like you to leave a note for them at the end of the day. They need to know how their students were behaving. They'd like to know where you left off in certain subjects. It's very important for them to know this information. When they come back the next day, they can pick up from where you left off and they won't be wasting time. We also ask that you make sure the room is in order before leaving. So please make sure that it's been picked up and cleaned up. Check the board, make sure that it's been erased, all of those details, because we do want classroom teachers to walk back into an orderly classroom.
I would like to emphasize that the majority of your interactions with our students in the Boise School District will be positive. Most of our students are excited to be in school, eager to learn. They want to please their teachers and staff members. However, you will run into occasionally some misbehaviors, and sometimes these misbehaviors can have a wide range of severity or impact within the classroom. Most of the time, you will have some talking within the classroom, some chatter, or students that are off task or not engaged. These are easy management issues typically in which, like we've said before, proximity will help, or talking to the student individually, or maybe giving them a leadership task within the classroom that will distract them from their misbehavior. Coming from a positive approach and especially positively praising good behavior and students meeting expectations often creates that peer pressure you need for the students who aren't engaged, who are misbehaving, to come along on board. But then, behavior can also increase in severity. Students shouting, students throwing things across the classroom. This is where we really rely on you as a professional and your judgment on how you handle these situations. I would say that there are severe behavioral infractions that need immediate attention, and I would like to highlight a few of those. Anytime a student threatens to harm themselves or harm another student, that needs to be reported immediately to the administration. Anytime there's report that a student has been neglected or abused, that needs to be reported to the main office immediately. Anytime you have a concern that there might be drugs or weapons on a student or within the classroom, that needs to be reported to the main office immediately. So those are some bigger issues that you might run into that you need to just pass the buck and get it up to the office and to administration and out of your hands. Most other scenarios you will be able to handle within your classroom, and we're going to get into some of those scenarios now.